Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab and today's video, which is going to be my review and demo of the Natasha Denona Mini Lila Palette. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I'm a big fan of Natasha Denona products, and when I saw this teased on Instagram, I knew that I had to have it. If you're new to my channel, I'm Yori and I would definitely love having you in my makeup family, so if you enjoyed this video, hopefully you'll consider subscribing and joining me for a future video. Now without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing, I purchased my palette from Sephora.com for $25, and the first thing I noticed is that Natasha Denona, ever since the Tropic palette, I would say, she has since started packaging her palettes in a secure outer carton. So it not only comes inside the box, but there's another cardboard box which houses the palette. I guess she realizes that her shadows are quite soft and a little bit delicate, and so it's really nice that she's taking the additional measure for when Sephora ships out the product. The palette is super tiny. It does include 5 shades. It fits right in the palm of my hand. It has this clear acrylic lid, no mirror, and your 5 shades are inside the palette. You do have a combination of different finishes. You have 3 creamy matte shades, as well as 1 metallic and a duochrome. First you have Poison Berry, which is a creamy matte, Blue Dahlia, which is a duochrome, Raisin, which is a creamy matte, Linen, which is metallic, and Flint, which is a creamy matte. Inside, each individual shade is 0.8 grams of product, which is a generous amount for such a tiny eyeshadow palette. It does have a 24-month shelf life. It was made in Italy, not tested on animals, and is paraben-free. However, it isn't vegan. The Mini Lila palette is a companion palette to the Natasha Denona Lila palette, which I do own and is shown right here. There are no repeated shades between the two. And in looking at them, they're quite complementary to one another. The Mini Lila palette is the second in the series. She also made a mini sunset palette, and I actually did not purchase the mini sunset palette because it was very neutral and it had a lot of neutral shades that I have similar tones to it in my other Natasha Denona palettes, but I was really interested in this one because it does add a couple of other sort of matte purple berry tones which are not present in the Lila palette, and I really like those tones. I also really like this one because you can really create, I would say, maybe a family of 2 types of looks. You can really stay neutral if you go on this side of the palette, or you can do something a little more bold like I'm wearing on my eyes today if you stay on this side. Believe it or not, my favorite shade in the palette is this metallic right here, and that one is called Linen. I just think it looks really beautiful all over the lid, and lately, since I've been doing more of a bold lip and a more neutral eye, I've really enjoyed having this shade all over my lid, and then I do this one in the crease to blend it out, and it makes a beautiful everyday kind of look. But I do love that you can really go bold and edgy if you go on this side of the palette, so I think actually for such a tiny palette, it's really versatile. As far as the swatches, I did just 1 finger swatches with no primer, and as you can see, the mattes really don't swatch all that well, but when you see them applied to the eyes, I think you'll agree that this is the typical Natasha Denona quality that I have come to know and love. So I was not disappointed with the quality of my palette. I've worn it several times now and I used absolutely every single shade, so I feel confident in recommending it if you want to try out the Natasha Denona formula. Now these purple shades, they are traditionally a little harder to work with and a little harder to manufacture, so I did find that for this purple shade, I could get the richest color density if I pat the color on my lid, but I can also get a very diffused gradient if I blend it out using like windshield wiper motions like I did today. But if you tap it on, you can get really rich purple intensity. The duochrome is really interesting. On me, it looks more blue than purple, even though on the palette, it really looks more purple. It has sort of a cool tone vibe with it, which usually makes me a little nervous because being so warm toned, cool tone shadows sometimes age me a little bit, but I think that this one looks really pretty on, and I'm really excited to have a little more variety in the kinds of eye looks that I do. Now, of course, this palette does have its drawback in that it is really small, and if you don't like purple palettes, then this probably isn't going to be something that you're even looking at. But if you wanted to try out the Natasha Denona formula, I think that this is a really nice example because you can try out both her creamy matte formula as well as her metallic and duochromes, which she does really well. And again, I love that you are not just limited to using purple tones with this palette. I really think that the color story was really well done, and it's just a nice, beautiful little palette, which I do find represents the Natasha Denona formula. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into how I created this eye look, and then I will be back with my final thoughts. Smith 230 and the shade Flint. We're gonna go just over the crease with that shade Today I primed my eyes with concealer and set it with translucent powder. Next, I'm going to take a MAC 242 and the shade Blue Dahlia, and I'm just going to pack that down on the lid. I used a MAC 242 for that, and my brush was completely dry. Next, I'm going to use a Smith 235 and the shade Poison Berry. And I'm going to put that in the transition between my first and second shades. Smith 253 and the shade Linen. And I use that on the brow arch as well as on the inner corner. Back to the original shade and brush and blend out the edges. I'm also going to run that shade along the lower lash line. Next, I'm going to use the side of a Smith 256 brush and apply the shade Raisin to the lower lash line. I'm also going to apply that shade to the outer corner of my lid. That's it for the eyeshadow palette. I did line my eyes, the inner and upper waterline, with a black eyeliner, and I did put a little bit of black liquid liner along my lash line to disguise my falsies. This is your finished look with just liner and mascara. The mascara I'm wearing today is the Double Decker Lashes, and this is by Butter London. And this is your finished look with false lashes. The falsies I applied today are the Baddington lashes, and these are in the style Monroe 3D. I got this in a BoxyCharm. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed seeing the eye look. You saw that I used absolutely every shade in the palette, and I do have to say that I have been loving this palette to create a neutral look, which is so funny. I think it's just because I was trying it out when I was going to work, and so I was really focusing on these two shades right here. And this one, which is a cranberry, can really function to deepen out the outer V or to line the lower lash line. It's just a really nice palette, and I'm really enjoying it. I think that if you've been curious about Natasha Denona, then this is a really good place to start, since you do have some options with it and it's more affordable relative to the other palettes. Looking on Sephora.com, the 5-pan eyeshadow palettes retail for almost $50. So this is a way that you can try out the formula for half price and see if you want to bite the bullet and invest in a larger palette in the future. I do recommend it. I think it's beautiful and really high quality, so let me know if you're interested in trying this out, or if you've ever tried the Natasha Denona formula and your favorite finish in her formula. For me, I do love her mattes and I love her metallics as well. Thank you so much for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Join my makeup family if you haven't already, as I would love to have you. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me, and I hope to see you again very, very soon on my next one. Bye-bye.